Welcome back to this special programme, Shaping the Future, where we consider the global impact of China's third plenum. The focus on new quality productive forces to promote high-quality development is key to China's plan for the future. And to help with that, talent cultivation and technological innovation will be vital, according to Education Minister Huai Jinpeng.
Our focus is on igniting scientific and technological creativity. The resolution emphasises the need to optimise the organisational mechanisms for major scientific and technological innovations, to build our country's strength in strategic science and technology, and to step up coordinated efforts to secure breakthroughs in core technologies in key fields.
With me now to consider how China can drive global innovation are Eric Bach, Professor Emeritus at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, Torsten Jelinek, Senior Fellow and Europe Director at the Taihe Institute, and Vuk Jeremić, former Serbian Foreign Minister and former President of the United Nations General Assembly. Great to have you all on the programme. Thank you very much. Now, Eric, let me start with you. Because at the plenum, the CPT talked about making China a major global centre for innovation. How do you see that happening?
It's supposed to happen in 2035. I think Mr. Xi Jinping is a bit more modest. He always talks about 2050 or 2049 as the key date. Anyway, there is a lot of discussion about the science, technology, innovation system in the Plenum document. I think I counted 2,000 words out of the 22,000 words. So it's given a prominent place. But at the same time, much of that discussion is about deep reforms of the science and technology system. And I think that's a very practical and good approach. So yes, if the reforms succeed, I think we will see something in 10 years.
Torsten, where do you see the opportunities for innovation and growth in that direction in China?
I think for any economy, or any economy must embrace innovation, as this is the only way to overcome the diminishing returns of mere development or the diminishing returns of only focusing on efficiencies or a factor-driven economy. So for China, the real opportunity actually lies in the virtual, right, in this paradox, so in digitalization and how China can actually use digitalization for the benefit of society. So I think that's the real opportunity. And here I saw basically two messages from the third plenum. First, technology is not something which is inherently good or bad. I think it's a potential, and it's somehow restless. But it also tends to reinforce certain structures or certain developments. So here China has consistently demonstrated how to balance between, let's say, market and technology forces, and how to control and stabilize and make it useful for society over the past decades. So I think this is a message which is going forward, which we could see and actually read from all the documents of the third plenum. And secondly, I also think that what came to me is not just the new, but also the old productive forces. Those were not just simply invented by fiat. So no poor country has ever managed to become rich just by letting market forces operate. So this requires state intervention. And I think China's state intervention has always been one of generating abundance as opposed to a development based on expropriation and scarcity. I think we can here be optimistic for China, but also for the many countries that benefit from China's further development. And of course, which has been critically discussed, China also needs to price the inputs that go to in the industry to keep the innovation going.
So talking then about the other countries that could be affected by China's innovation drive. Vuk, I mean, how do you see those new advances or reinforced commitment to advancing innovation affecting other parts of the world? I just wonder what opportunities you think that China's drive forward can create for countries like Serbia, for example.
Thank you for this opportunity. Greetings from Serbia to everybody. It's a country that has a very special relationship with China, a comprehensive one. We cooperate very closely in all fields, including in technology. And the experience of Serbia so far has been exceptional. The relationship based on mutual respect and sovereign equality of nations is not something that you get too often in today's turbulent geopolitical world. But touching upon some of the things that you had asked my colleagues here at the panel, whether China can turn into a global hub for innovation, I believe China is already a global hub. As a matter of fact, one of the leading global hubs for innovation. I just spent a week of high-level counseling and brainstorming at Cambridge University, my alma mater, and we were looking at numbers carefully compiled by the statisticians. There are 2,500 top global companies when it comes to research and development, and let's call them G2500. They account for about 91% of annual investment in technology R&D, about $1.5 trillion these companies invest. As a matter of fact, there are 700 Chinese companies amongst the global 2,500 when it comes to R&D investment, and when it comes to innovation. There are only 34 companies that are from the developing countries other than China in those top 2,500. And in the top 500 companies that invest in technology R&D, it's only China and the developing world.
Green, low carbon and circular development were also singled out at the plenum. We all know how important those things are. I mean, where do you think China is going to have to focus to drive that carbon-friendly future?
Well, I would like to say that I think ecology, the ecological civilization is very dear to the heart of Mr. Xi Jinping. And he has, in my view, been a major driver of green development. For instance, he announced the dual carbon goals of peaking carbon emissions by 2030 and to become carbon neutral in 2060. So these goals are, the Chinese are working really hard to identify how they can reach these goals. Personally, I've had a look at I think the green industries, the wind turbine and solar panel industries in China are really moving forward very quickly. So that's one very important factor. But sort of decarbonizing the industry is also a major task. And I also think that, the price of carbon in the system is very much too low to be effective. And more industries should be covered by that system. But if that happens, I could easily see China decarbonize much of its economy in the future.
And Torsten, international cooperation is, of course, vital if we're going to save the planet. What do you see as China's role in that cooperation?
I think here it makes sense to actually contrast China's current approach to collaboration and how collaboration worked in the past century in relation to technology and how technology was used. So basically, in the past century, as we all know, technology remained kind of a prerogative of a few rich countries. So, and only over time, only a few broke through that asymmetry, and only one, probably that's China, that broke through the past technology asymmetry or collaborative asymmetry, and also tries to avoid those old structures, let's say exclusive structures in institutions. So because of that, what I would say failure of the past century, we see now the rise of a multipolar world and widespread demand for technology, digital data sovereignty. So everyone wants actually kind of benefit from that technology. And here I see, I think, two roles, and this was also emphasized, two roles China plays. First, Eric mentioned already that China managed actually also with maybe a lack of sufficient pricing of the industrial inputs, but it has nevertheless managed to create very competitive green technologies. That's number one. And the second one is actually a platform for sharing, internationally sharing this platform as a public good.
We're talking a lot about all these new technologies and digitalization in amongst the focus on that innovation, high quality development, modernization. You know, one of the key messages at the plenum is that China will deepen reform, something that Eric mentioned, expand, opening up. You know, in spite of what was called increasing uncertainties of the outside world, how do you see that playing out?
I come from Serbia, which is a European country. We're not part of the EU, but we are, of course, very deeply affected by everything that is happening in the EU. And the European Union is right now facing serious economic headwinds. Some are result from domestic developments in the countries of the European Union. Some are stemming out of the geopolitical affairs. But one significant priority of the European Union as it moves forward is the Green Deal, is the transition to sustainable energy, sustainable industry, sustainable way of life. As a matter of fact, which has become quite pricey in its transition phase as a result of certain geopolitical developments. First and foremost, the war in Ukraine that had direct implications on the price of gas and so on and so forth. Now, the European Union continues to move in this direction at a higher price. And here it's a 500-pound panda, if you will, in the room, which is the fact that when it comes to sustainable technologies, and in particular electric vehicles, batteries, photovoltaic equipment, and so on and so forth, China is the global leader. And the question for Europe, and I very much am concerned as to what happens in Europe, because we're part of Europe, is how Europe is going to take this into consideration. Some of the recent moves that we have seen that indicate disposition towards protectionism in Europe, in my opinion, can make the green transition of Europe exceptionally expensive and not so sustainable.
Eric Bach, Torsten Jelinek and Jeremić, thank you all very much.